Hi! Within this lecture, we're going to see how we can connect to our web server and upload files to make our game website. As you can see, we got an email from DigitalOcean stating our username and the password. Of course, you cannot share these passwords with anyone. I'm just going to delete this droplet after I'm finished with this lecture, so you can just see mine, it doesn't matter. And I'm going into my Kali Linux after I just copied my password, and I'm going to use Kali Linux in order to connect to my DigitalOcean web server. So if I run ifconfig run, you will see that I'm using ET80, which is 10.02.15 IP address. So right now I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see it better, because we're going to run a command for the first time, which is SSH. If you type SSH, then your account name, and mine is root in this case, and then an @ and then your external IP address, which is here. Okay, let me copy this and paste it in here as well. It will try to connect to this server. So it will ask me if I want to go on. I will say yes, and it will ask me for a password. So what is our password? It is given by DigitalOcean in an email. So if I copy this and paste it in here, it will log in to my root account in my web server. So it asked me to change the password. Okay, so let me try to give my current password and let me choose a new password. It doesn't show up on the screen, but it's actually typing. So type something and hit enter. So right now I'm in the Ubuntu machine. So I'm not in the Kali Linux machine in this terminal. What I run here will be run in the Ubuntu, in the Amsterdam. Okay, it's not run in my Kali Linux. If I open another terminal, of course it will be run on my Kali Linux, but if I run ifconfig right now, as you can see, I have this external IP address. I don't see 10.02.15 right now. I see my external IP address because this terminal is actually running on Amsterdam. So you can reach external cloud servers by using this SSH thing and giving your login information and logging into your web server. So what do we want to do? We want to install the beef in Ubuntu if it's not installed, and we want to install this 2048 game on our web server in order to have a website. Right now, this Ubuntu doesn't have anything. If you run various beef, it cannot find beef because it isn't installed right now. If you run locate beef, it won't still find it. So we're going to manually install everything in this Ubuntu. So first of all, I'm going to run apt-get update because that's what we did when we first installed Kali Linux as well, remember? So we need to be sure that our current version is updated before we run and install other stuff. And Kali Linux comes pre-installed with all the great tools, but we don't have anything right now in our Ubuntu. So we're going to install the Apache server, we're going to install the beef, we're going to download this 2048 game into our web server as well. So I believe best way to start this is to install the Apache web server. So I'm going to say apt-get install Apache 2, okay? And I will say yes, of course. This will take some additional disk space and it's okay for me. And it will install the Apache web server on our Ubuntu machine. And maybe you now understand why are we using Kali Linux, because we don't have to go over this process every time we install Kali Linux. It comes pre-installed with great tools. So if you run pwd, it will show you you're in root. So let me try to find my all folders and files by going cd dot dot and then run ls. So we are now in the root folder, like we are in here, okay? So think of this like this. We are inside of our computer. So this is what we see in Ubuntu as well. So it has all the same folder order with Kali Linux. And if I say cd var and if I run ls, you will see we have a folder called w. Okay, so let me run into that, and as you can see we have this HTML folder, which is our Apache web server. Right now we have the index.html, and I believe this is default index.html. Later on I'm going to delete it because I'm going to replace it with my own game, but for right now let me check it. So let me copy my IP address from here and browse it to see what do we see. Okay, so let me open Firefox and paste this external IP address on my Firefox. Of course you can do it from your host machine or your telephone, mobile phone as well. As you can see, this is the default Apache 2 web server web page. We don't need it here. I'm going to delete this and I'm going to install the 2048 game on my HTML folder so that we can see our game when we go to this external IP. So let me have a clear screen in here. Maybe you remember how to delete a file from a Linux distribution. You have to run ls. If you see the file in here like index.html, all you have to do is just run rm for remove index.html. And if I type ls right now, I won't see anything because I deleted index.html. Right now I have a blank web page. So let me get my game GitHub page. Okay, I have shared the link with you. I'm going to manually find it from my GitHub repository, but I believe you already have it, so you need to copy it. So I'm just going to go to my GitHub page. This is my GitHub page, okay? And if I go to the repositories and search for 2048, I can find this game in here. I'm going to copy this into my Ubuntu web server. And I believe you have a clue how to do that on your own, right? We did it before. So I'm going to take all of these folders, all of these files, and copy all of these things into my web server so it will be run on my web server, so when people go to my web page they will see this game. Okay, and we don't have to download this one by one. We can use GitHub repositories, we can use GitHub functionalities in order to do that. So copy the link, and we no longer need this, so close it down, and while you're in the HTML folder you can run git clone and paste the link in here and hit enter, and it will clone everything in my web page, in my GitHub repository, to your HTML. If you run ls right now, you will see it had copied the 2048 folder in here. So let me cd into that, and as we can see, we have the index.html, reg file, readme, style, and everything in here. So we have to move all of this directly into the HTML folder. So Apache web server won't be able to understand this until we do it so. So I'm going to use mw command, move command, and I'm going to say move contributing.md to /var/www/html. So this will move this file to the location specified. And as you can see, if I run ls, it won't display this result to me because I don't have contributing MD in this folder anymore. I have it in my HTML folder. So I'm going to do that for every file. I'm going to move every file from here to the HTML folder. So as you can see, I have moved favicon, index. I believe the JS folder is next. So license.txt. Actually, we don't need any license.txt or readme.md, but in order to be safe, I'm just moving everything. So after we are done in here, if everything goes well, when we go to our IP address, we will see the game running on our web server. Okay, so 2 more files to go, readme.md, and finally the style folder, var w.html, and I believe we have nothing left. So let me go back while cd ... and if I run ls, I will see everything in here. So I believe now we are ready to test this. So let me open Firefox and let me try to go to this IP address, and I forgot what was the IP address. Let me run ifconfig to see it. So right now let me copy this IP address from here and open the Firefox and paste it in here and try to go, and as you can see, my game is running on my web server, so I can really play the game right now. Okay, so it's working. You can try this on your phone on any connection too. So make sure that your game is running so that we will be ready to inject a JavaScript code in this website, and that's what we are going to do within the next lecture.